two-spirited people, people
Oh
that would now
boy, here we
consider
go.
LGBTQ or trans people in the native languages. So
The
I'd like
native
to know how,
languages?
as these people have existed for thousands of years before you were alive or anyone else in this room was alive.
Oh, really? Are you
Before
sure about
we
that fact?
Colonized America.
Mm-hmm.
If
Colonized
people were around
America?
then, I'm just wondering why you think it is that
Trans
people are over
Indians.
here now because
Woo,
somebody
woo, woo,
is
woo, woo,
telling
woo, woo,
people
woo.
Well, do you think it's weird that I graduated with 0 trans people? Do you think what do you think has contributed to the explosion?
She won't answer that
of
question.
transgender people from the time that I was in high school?
She
I'll
won't
ask you a
answer
question
that.
back. If this was just a natural thing, and I don't know what you're talking about with two-spirit people, is this like a Native American tribe, like high, smoking, and talking about your spirit?
Just donations from the public.
Uh-huh. Right. Do you know that Just Stop Oil has taken massive donations from, oil dynasties such as Jean-Paul Getty? Do you know that? Sorry? No, it has. Do you want me to show you?
No, we're not.
You are. I've just told you. You're funded by the Climate Emergency Fund in LA, of which the majority of them are heirs to oil dynasties, including Jean-Paul Getty.
I'll have a sensible debate about climate science and the climate crisis and the
I don't think you can have a sensible
but there's no
debate,
point if
honey.
You're just gonna throw mud that doesn't make any sense.
I'm telling you facts. How's that mud? Look, this is your favourite newspaper, The Guardian. Just Stop Oil's spring uprising process
Look at her
funded by
face.
US philanthropists.
Look at her face.
LA-based Climate Emergency Fund donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to activists. They include Jean-Paul Getty, whose oil dynasty made him a multi-billionaire.
I'm an 8-year military veteran. I'm a college student. I'm a black woman. And I believe that white privilege fucking exists.
Oh boy.
You've made good choices. You're getting rewarded for them. You're going to live in the American
Victim
middle class.
mentality, not a
What
victor
privilege
mentality, victim
do I
mentality.
have that you don't have?
Black
That's based on
victim
skin
mentality.
color, not on wealth or socioeconomic status. Name one thing that you can't do that I can do.
I don't know. I can't make a whole fucking dollar.
What? You can't? Why?
Oh my god. There's so many different ways they sell you oppression, and she has purchased all of them today. So right now we are on sexism, right? So she's saying that I can't
How much
make
did
a
she
whole
buy
dollar.
sexism for? I thought
What
she said she
frustrates
couldn't make
me
a fucking
is
dollar.
You've served our country, which deserves to be applauded, and you have lived a life of a victor, and you have the gumption to tell me you're a victim without evidence. You were not able to cite one thing
No.
that you cannot do that I can do.
So you're actually the reason why people like us can't do well, because they've sold
That's right.
our
Black
oppression, you bought it.
people like you acting as
If
victims.
you acknowledge the oppression of
If
other
you
people,
you can heal from it.
If you want
No,
to
we
ignore
can't.
it, we won't have anything happen. That's not how this works. Dialogue,
Girl.
acknowledge
Oh
things
yeah,
that make
girl.
us
You
other
don't
people.
say that thing,
Hi
girl.
guys, so you're having some aneurysms over here. When does a
I think they've been
baby
feeding
stop
a lot
being
too.
a parasite, like she said? I know you were listening to the conversation. When does a baby stop being a parasite and then turns into a baby that's worth protecting?
Ask her. She's a biology major.
Oh, ask
so
her.
am I.
Don't
Okay,
ask me.
perfect.
I'm just an idiot. But
I
ask her.
would
She's a
say
biology
probably
major.
when the child is actually fully born. Modern medicine has been able to, we can give birth to children who are, premature, and modern medicine has been able to keep them alive, but naturally, they are not able to stay alive without that mother until their first breath.
Okay, so
So this biology major would like to basically tell us that modern medicine has evolved to such a point that up until birth, passage outside the vaginal canal, that babies can't live on their own. But once they're out, then they're perfectly fine. They can live on their own. They can feed by themselves. They can dress themselves. They can go to the bathroom. They can take a tinkle or a winkle. They can take a potty poo dump. They can wipe themselves. They can dress themselves. If they want, they can even go outside by themselves. They don't need any parents watching over them. Right? A newborn? Right? They're perfectly fine to do all of this. They don't need the help of anybody because once they're outside the mother's body, then they can live by themselves. So now that defines him as a person, or the state of personhood, according to these two biological delinquents.
As a biology major, which I graduated with a biology degree, would you agree with the notion that an unborn baby is a parasite?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a parasitic.
What class are you taking that's telling you that?
What class are you taking?
Literally pathophysiology.
Is telling you that a baby is a parasite.
It acts as a
Pathophysiology.
parasitic animal.
Really?
It doesn't. Do you know the definition of a parasite?
Yes, explain it to me.
What is the definition of a parasite?
A parasite is something that lives inside of a host that has to feed off of that host.
And kills it. It's not a symbiotic relationship.
Not necessarily.
And in the case of a parasitic, if you want to define parasites, this is what the pro-choice, pro-murdering babies side basically latch onto, saying that it's a parasite because it is, taking nutrients from the mother. Well, a parasite, first of all, a parasite in the majority of cases is not species specific. In other words, it's another species that comes into another species and then starts to cause the destruction that it does. Now, there are some in-species parasites. I think there's a fish, an anglerfish or something like that, but that's just getting beside the point. The fact of the matter is that a parasite does not give any benefit whatsoever to the host that it's invading. It just takes and drains and literally causes death and disease. Malaria is one of the biggest ones of parasitic infections. So are they basically equating a malarial parasitic infection to a baby in the uterus? That's how deranged, that's how stupid, how idiotic, how moronic, how retarded these pro-choice, let's terminate, let's kill babies. This is what they come up with, folks. This is what they come up with. And these are two of their spokesmen or spokeswomen or spokespersons. I really don't know. Don't want to miscategorize, misgender anybody anymore now, do we? And I don't think these two yuppies here have anything to worry about of finding men that are going to be able to procreate with them and give them babies. So I don't think they have anything to worry about having any type of a parasite invading their bodies. Anyways, let's continue.
Yes, that's the definition of a parasite. That's not the definition of a parasite. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It lives off of the host. It's a parasite. It kills the host.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you guys think that the baby is killing the mother?
It does in some cases, yes.
It does in some cases, yes. Yes, it does
Okay,
in some
so at
cases.
what point, so you think it has to pass through the birth canal and take the first breath to not be considered a parasite?
Yes.
Yes.
Because at that point, it no longer needs the mother.
No, not at all.
I'm wondering, there are dozens of words for two-spirited people
Oh,
that would now
boy,
be
here we
considered
go.
LGBTQ or trans people in the native languages. So
The
I'd like
native
to know how,
languages?
as these people have existed for thousands of years before you were alive or anyone else in this room was alive.
Oh, really? Are you
Before
sure about
anybody
that fact?
Colonized America. If
Colonized
people were around
America?
then, I'm just wondering why you think it is that
Trans
people are over
Indians.
here now because
Woo,
of
woo,
years
woo, woo, woo,
telling
woo, woo,
people
woo,
Well, do you think it's weird that I graduated with 0 trans people? Do you think what do you think has contributed to the explosion?
She won't answer that
of transgender
question.
people from the time that I was in high school.
She
I'll
won't
ask you a
answer
question
that.
back. If this was just a natural thing, and I don't know what you're talking about with two-spirit people, is this like a Native American tribe, like high, smoking, and talking about your spirit? I'm asking you seriously, because when I think of Native American tribes
Wampum.
talking about their spirits, I know that they used to smoke a lot, they used to do drugs, they also were cannibals who used to eat people, so I don't know if we should be taking our cues from cannibals. But
I think
can you
that's
explain
kind
to me
of
what
ridiculous.
two-spirit is in the history?
There are people that would now be considered trans people that did not feel that they fit
What
the binary
part, though?
gender.
Native Americans? I'm asking you.
Yes, I'm telling you that not only in one Native American tribe, but in multiple tribes, there were dozens of terms that referred to.
Right there were dozens of terms that referred to. They said there were two spirits. They drew these on, on their skins, on rocks, and they talked about this. And this is another thing where the Church of Transgenderism basically goes to, just like we saw the, where the pro-choice, pro-termination, get rid of babies, church went to. This is where the Church of Transgenderism basically goes to. They're looking through facts, they're looking through history, looking through everything, folks. They're looking at biology and anything, any subject matter that they can find anything that somebody said that they might be something else. These people latch onto it. Latch onto it like a parasite, actually, folks. That's right. And this parasite, the Church of Transgenderism, it is destroying the host. And what is a host? It's America, American society. So yes, transgenderism is like a parasite because it's sucking and feeding and draining the blood and the sensibility and the senses of everybody that's basically saying up until yesterday, everything was perfectly, we knew what everything was. But now this parasite has invaded. And now they're basically saying that the American Indian tribes were parasites, basically. No, they were trans Indians, trans people at that time.
People that would now be considered trans, and that was hundreds of years ago. So I'm just wondering why you think that people are only trans now because the media is telling them to be.
Well, I told you, because of the proliferation. So you can't just go from having 0% to something
Absolutely.
25%
But what
of
I'm
people.
saying is that these people were around for.
How do you know they were around?
Well, what you're saying is that some Native American tribes had people that would be considered trans today.
People that
Something that we
were
can't fact
trans.
check because they're dead.
Right.
Right.
Historical knowledge.
Historical
It's
knowledge.
historical knowledge that there were trans Native Americans.
Yes.
I really don't
Yes.
think that's historical knowledge. But here's what
should
I'll
look it up
answer.
then.
I don't think that there were
Well, I'm telling you
trans
that
Native
there
Americans.
Were,
Oh, she's the expert.
Educate yourself a little more. You would know that.
Okay.
As well.
Ooh.
Educate myself.
I don't
Educate
believe
yourself.
in big government, right? I believe
You
in
don't?
no government.
No
Little
government.
to
So
no
you're an
government.
anarchist.
Yes. I believe in voluntary hierarchy and democracy.
What's preventing you from doing what the Amish do? Get off the grid and just go live like that right now.
Well, the Amish are religiously excluded.
No, forget the religious
Okay,
component.
well,
but
because
the Amish are a great example.
Incredibly difficult to just pick up everything that you have, leave, and go into.
So you want to tell me how to live?
What I'm saying is that there are people that are literally starving, and then if you
Great. This guy, it's just too hard to pick up and leave and go. But, you do it, Charlie, and everybody else, you go and do it. You do it.
you had extra houses and they literally just came and occupied the houses that you are not using, they are justified because you are being a massive asshole.
If someone forcefully takes away something that is sedentary, not being used in that purpose, it is a rightful means of theft.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you don't believe in private property rights?
No, I do not.
You don't believe in private property rights, so we're getting somewhere. So you're not a libertarian, my friend.
Right.
Libertarians believe...
I'm not a libertarian in the American, I'm not a libertarian in the capitalist sense. I'm not a libertarian in the American
You're not a
sense.
libertarian at all.
using the word, because you're anything but it.
I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done.
Yeah,
And
Helter Skelter,
CNN
shut up.
has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now.
You tell him, brother.
There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder,
I know
though, is
we're
when
not,
you
because
see
you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the air and got a chance to talk to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
Let's figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position.
Absolutely.
Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's what...
Folks, let me just say, when they were looking at a number, they knew they couldn't use 100%. Oh, no one's going to believe 100%. Somebody probably said, oh, let's do 90. 90 isn't good because that still leaves 10%, and that's just too much. How about 95? Not close enough. 99? 98? 97.5? 90, you know what? 97 sounds like a really good number we can use for everything. Anytime somebody basically comes at us and says that you're wrong or we're wrong, you just say that 97% of scientists say it's right, 97% of doctors say it's right, 97% of teachers say it right, 97% of academia says it's right, 97% of all the social media platforms say it right, 97% of lawyers say it right. Scientists, just use 97%. That's going to be just like that 6-foot bullshit rule that was put to us in COVID. It came out of someone's derriere, folks. Pulled it right out of their arsehole. That's where these numbers come from. Their imagination. It is a delusion of them, of their collusion. It's all an illusion.
It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles.
I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to try to refute you on the facts.
That's the truth.
I'll simply say that the
please
vast
stand
majority...
back from this issue and let the two sides be on the air.
That's the truth, Ruth.
But if they didn't commit the crime, they wouldn't have to deal with any of that.
Well, sometimes a lot of them don't commit the crimes.
No.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They don't commit a crime. They're just locked up for no reason.
I was.
And so you had a better chance of life growing up because you had two parents who provided for you.
I did, yeah.
But isn't that the right and the best way to go rather than all this other stuff?
I don't necessarily agree. People can still be just as successful. I definitely do think I was more privileged to have both parents in the home.
So you're white privileged then?
Not necessarily.
You just like the white woman.
You
had everything.
At all.
What's the difference? The white girl next to you had a father and mother in the private school, right? And she's white privileged. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So you're a black girl with a father and mother in the same classroom, sitting right next to the white girl with the privilege. So you had it too.
So what we mean when we say white privilege is not necessarily about what resources they have, but it's also a generational connection, and also a physical connection.
So here we go with this black girl. And she knows she's cornered because she has the same privilege as that white girl that she's going to that private school with and a mommy and a daddy. But she goes, oh, but there's other things there. It's like generational and physical and psychological and all this other mumbo jumbo crap. Because when they're hit with the truth, they're squirming. Their mind is going, at warp speed, trying to figure out how can they extricate themselves from the stupidity and the idiocy of their position. And sometimes they just dig that hole deeper and deeper and deeper, make them look stupider, and even stupider than they were before they even open up their mouth. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and post. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Take a look at our other video links above and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.